good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Michelle with Treecat here, coming to you every Saturday, talking about the world of e-commerce. But this time we're talking about recommerce because I think there's a huge opportunity right now for resellers. What is recommerce? Essentially reselling, what we do, right? We buy from maybe thrift stores, maybe garage sales, maybe liquidation, and maybe even retail arbitrage. And the items that we buy have either been pre-loved or have been sold and returned. And we are giving these items a new customer, right? We're giving them a new life. We're saving them from the landfills. And that's what recommerce, this new term, is really about. But essentially it's reselling. And right now, if you're a reseller, there's an opportunity. So let's talk about why there's an opportunity. So this last week, there's been a huge number of people on TikTok that are Chinese manufacturers talking about how, basically like spilling the tea on corporate greed exposed, right? Because all these big name brands are basically made in China. And this one lady was talking about, Hermes or it was a guy actually. What was the guy? That was this guy right here. He was talking about Hermes and how it's actually made in China, or these luxury brands are actually made in China. And then the middleman, right? The big company is marking it up tremendously, and they're exposing this, right? And they want their actionable item is for you to buy directly from them. So I found it interesting. And there are sometimes some of them are actually like listing different places, like different websites. So I don't know. I think, it shows a little bit of desperation because right now this whole tariff situation is really, really affecting global trade, right? And I don't think it's the answer to buy directly from Chinese manufacturers personally, because there's too many issues right now that are going to cause problems for the end user. So first of all, it's not like buying directly from eBay where you have a level of trust, where you have buyer protection. You don't know what your buyer protection is. You don't know about, counterfeits. You don't know about returns. You don't know if you're going to get scammed. You don't know if you're going to have to pay tariff or not tariff. What do you call it? Customs, right? Customs duties, because the de minimis exception is actually going to expire on May 2nd, right? So that means that any items that you purchase from overseas, that specifically from China, that are under $800, they used to have an exemption from customs duties, but now they won't. So the question is, like, how much more will you be paying if you buy directly from the Chinese manufacturer and cut out the middleman? How much will you be paying for, like, on customs duties, right? The end consumer. We don't know. And we also don't know the implications of the ocean containers, right? Because we're just seeing information. Like, here's an article from Freight Waves. I don't know if that's big enough, but maritime shipping. Will this affect maritime shipping, right? They've seen a huge reduced demand on trade routes, so they're going to have to change their trade routes. How is that going to impact the cost of shipping? We don't know. So, and then there's the tariffs. They've been, I guess, delayed for a while, but a delay is just a delay, right? They're just delaying the inevitable. So, yeah, I don't know that it's the answer. But what I do see is an opportunity for those of us who are in the recommerce reselling space. Not only because it's going to be affected slightly, less for us, by tariffs. Maybe we will have a rise in some of our like packaging and things like that, but the actual items that we buy will not be affected by any of this, global trade issues. So that's nice. But the thing is that I think that's really important to understand is that not only do we offer value for the value consumer, but we offer also we offer an opportunity for our customers to feel good about their purchases. And I think that's what is gold right now, because right now we're in a situation, where there's a lot of fear and uncertainty about our economy. And so it's affecting our buyers' thought process, right? And they call it buyer sentiment, right? And there's been a lot of studies about the science behind consumer decision making. And I think in times like this, people, if they're looking at value, right? But they're also looking at supporting small businesses because people are kind of fed up with corporate greed. A lot of people, especially like my kids, Gen Z and millennials, they knew this game. They knew about the game, how the game was played. With the all these big companies getting everything made in China and then marking it up, hundreds and hundreds of percent. Um, and so I know from myself, like I feel good when I buy from a small business owner. It makes me feel good. I get that extra added value from my purchase. And right now, when people are so concerned, they're so conscious, I guess you could say, about their and they're so thoughtful because not only do they have to think about, the value of something that they're getting, but they also are thinking about who they're buying it from, the choices that they're making, and if they can feel good about their purchase, I think that's what what our advantage is here, is making our customers giving our customers that feeling of, "Oh, I'm doing something good to help someone. I'm doing something good to help a small business owner. I'm doing something good to help the environment because I'm lessening my impact with buying something, that's being saved from the landfill." So, um, I think that, there's things that we can do in times like this, to provide that those personal touches that give that extra kind of value add, right? Because people are making purchasing decisions based on emotion right now. Um, so we need to think about the value. So here's what I came up with, and I'm just kind of like brainstorming here. Um, I don't know if I'm going to do all these things, but these are the things that I came up with that I feel like I can do as a seller to educate. Like one is to educate my buyer and let them know I'm a small business. Okay. I put a little card in each of my packages that says thank you for supporting my small business. And like on the back, I said the world is full of choices and you chose us and we want to meet your expectations. So I'm giving them that extra personal touch. I'm telling them a little bit of the story. I could probably tell more of a story. Let me tell you a story about a story. So I bought something. I'm also a buyer. I also buy things on eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. I'm not only a seller, but I buy things as well. And when I get a story by a small seller, hey, I remember one time I got a card like this that came in my packaging, and it was from a mom who had a child with autism. And she said in her card, and I don't remember exactly how it was worded, but it was kind of like, "Hey, you're supporting me to be there with my autistic child." And I was like, wow, that really hit me here. That I had an emotion and I felt really good for supporting her and her small business. So I mean, I'm not saying to make things up. I'm saying just be genuine and tell people, hey, I'm a small business. Let's say, some of my profits, I do this because of X, Y, and Z. Maybe you want to stay home with your kids. Maybe you're caring for an elder person, or maybe you have an animal sanctuary and you're doing this for a lifestyle reason, and you can tell them that. Now I'm sure that there are other compelling messages to let people know that your story, right? So I probably haven't even gone far enough to telling people my story as to why I sell online. Maybe I can think about that. Maybe you can think about that. Like, what is your story? And how can you educate your buyer about who they're buying from, right? And so that they can have that added extra value of feeling good about their purchase. So the other thing was, second thing was, and it's also a way to kind of optimize your listings. So we often use hashtags, right? Not so much on eBay, but on Poshmark and Mercari. We have the opportunity to use hashtags, and also on places like Depop and I think Etsy as well. And maybe I always struggle with some of my hashtags because it's like like, I don't know, do I just put a trend in there? Like, I don't know. So what if I started putting in, besides, some main keywords, what if I added like sustainable choice or small business owned? Like, what kind of impact would that have? And I might actually start A/B testing this to see, like, if those listings, like if I have two items that are similar, maybe I can put up two listings that are, same item, but like different pictures, slightly different description, maybe like a penny difference in the price or something like that, so that they're really the same item. But one I have, branded my hashtags, um, to show, to tell more about my story and more about the choice that this buyer is making by buying from me. They're buying something that's being saved from the landfill. They're buying something from a small business owner. Um, so I wonder how that would change things. So that's something I'm thinking about. Okay. And also I think there's an opportunity when we do our promotions, like especially on eBay. For example, coupons. I have been doing digital coupons, and sometimes I will even put in a paper coupon, recycled paper, about my current promotion, my current coupon that I'm offering on eBay. But when you generate these coupons, eBay will just give you any old code, but you have the opportunity to change that code and to brand that code. And what if I branded that code, differently, and said the small business Saturday or small business owned sale or something like that? I don't know. I have to get more creative. I'm just kind of brainstorming here. But I think that that's another opportunity to tell your story, right, as a seller. The other thing is I really like this item. So when customers can bundle items, right, and they can save on shipping. So not only is that a way for them to save and to feel good about saving money, but they're lessening their impact, right? They're lessening the packaging impact. They're lessening the transportation impact that they're having on the environment. So remind them. Maybe that's an opportunity to remind them about that, because there are a lot of people that care about these things. A lot of people. And I'm telling you, like, I have kids who are in their 20s and I have neighbors who are in their 30s and 40s. They care about these things. These are important to them. And these are ways that we can educate our users that, you're buying from us and you're making a difference. Okay, the other two things that I want to talk about, one is transparency. So I have started becoming more transparent about where my items come from. I buy from liquidation. These are mostly customer returns. They are mostly shelf pulls. They are items that the manufacturer, for whatever reason, maybe they've discontinued the item or whatever, and they were going to destroy those items, but they decided to resell them to me. And so I'm giving them a new home. So in my listings, I put a little in the description. I say, hey, this comes from this, big store. And, you know, I'm just very transparent with what they come. I've repackaged them, and I curate and inspect every item. So that's an opportunity to be transparent, and it's an opportunity to give a personal touch, to let them know there's been a personal touch that has happened with this item before it comes to you. And the final thing that I want to talk about is sharing milestones. So you can use analytics on Treecat to find out, like, how many items you've sold or whatever. You can go to this period right here. Oops, this one. And you can look and see, okay, how many items did I sell this year or last year or what have you? Okay, so with that information, taking that information, what I would do, let's see, where did I leave off? Here we go. Taking that information, what I might say is, I might, like, write them a handwritten note, or maybe I'll have a sticker. I could make a little sticker that says, thanks to our amazing buyers, we've saved 1,000 or however many it was from the landfill this year. So that's just some different ways to kind of brand yourself as a reseller that maybe you didn't think of before, because maybe you were just thinking in terms of value, right? But there's a whole other segment of our buyer population that cares deeply about the fact that they're buying from a small business owner, the fact that they're making a sustainable choice. So I think that that's an opportunity for us resellers, for us Recommerce sellers. Okay. And I also wanted to note that eBay is also getting into the pre-loved, they're in the pre-loved program. They have a new partner program. And so you may have gotten an email recently. Hey, thank you for your interest in the pre-loved partner program. And we're excited to share that you've been identified as a top, seller of pre-owned fashion on eBay. And, they are extending an invitation to join their new initiative. And so that's pretty cool, right? So that's another way that, you maybe I don't know what it puts on your store. Maybe it puts like a little badge or something on your store. But that's pretty cool. So anyways, talking more about sustainability, talking more about the fact that you're a small business, I think that's an opportunity that needs to be explored for us resellers. Now, speaking of small business, not only am I a reseller, right, but I also have Treecat, and which is also a small business. FYI, if you didn't know, it's just a family business, and it came about because I was a reseller, and I was like, wouldn't it be cool if you could do this? Wouldn't it be cool if you had a cross listing thing that could do this? And one of the things that we wanted to explore early on was the automation of taking down a listing when you have cross-listed items, taking it down, and then when one item sells, we take the others down automatically. You don't have to push a button; it just happens. And so then the other thing was like, wouldn't it be cool if I didn't have to pay like a static monthly fee? That was the other thing. I was like, I really wish I could just kind of pay when I need to pay. So even though it's a software service, we're kind of rethinking how we do software service. So we're not having a monthly fee. At the end of the month, you just pay for the items that sold, and you pay you can go down and you can see the reverse tiers that we offer. So if you have a coupon code, it's like 50 cents every time we take it down. But if you have more than 31 sales, that goes down to 35 cents. If you have more than 101, that goes down to 25 cents. And if you have more than 140 items that you sell every month, it's only a penny for that takedown, as you taking it down. So, and we keep thinking about, well, wouldn't it be cool to do this? Wouldn't it be cool to do that? And one of the things that I was like, wouldn't it be cool? And actually a lot of users were like, wouldn't it be cool if was making the cross listing a lot easier. So we just recently, yesterday, kind of announced, officially announced to our users our beta program of our AI cross listing. And it's called AI autofill. And I just wanted to quickly show you that there's two ways you can do it. We'd love to get your feedback. There's two ways you can go about using the AI autofill. So I just want to really quickly review those things. The first way is that you can just do it. We have two views, right? In the inventory. I'm in the inventory tab right now. We have two views. One is the card view, right? And that just shows you like all of your listings. It's called a card view. It gives you a large overview of and you can do all kinds of like ways to filter it. You can filter it by date that it was listed. You can filter it by your custom SKU. You can filter it by color, item, category, whatever. So it's just a really good way to like manage your inventory. But the other thing is that if you want to do your cross listing from this view, you can. And you're basically going to go into the listing, right? And you can do it one by one, or you can open a bunch up in tabs, and you don't have to wait for one item to finish to start another one if you do it that way with the tabs. And so you're essentially saying, okay, I'm autofilling my item and it's already here. It got pulled in from eBay because that's where I do my listings. And it's in Treecat, so I'm going to autofill it to Mercari and Poshmark. I tell it to do the autofill. And then it takes about 5, maybe 7 seconds per platform. And then when it's done, you can click on your platform of choice. Let's see. I'll go to Mercari. All right. Yeah, it told me that the item successfully autofilled. So I'm in Mercari, and then you just want to review it. It put in the description. It put in, like, before I did this, there was nothing in those fields. I probably should have showed that. I'll show it to you in the next step. But yeah, so it put in all the descriptions. So previously it would only put in, our previous cross-listing experience was that it would only put in the product name and the price and the description. And then you had to kind of manually put in all these other things, right? So people were saying, hey, that's not as easy to use as I thought it was. Well, now it's a lot easier and a lot quicker because you're not putting in all the manual things. So, you do want to double check that it got everything correct, right? You want to go through it, and you have to put it doesn't put in your hashtag. So if you want to put in a hashtag, then you put in your hashtag or whatever. And you just go through some of the things and whatever, So yeah, so that's how that works. You just have to review it basically. Now, if you wanted to do it the other way, we have another way, which is in our fast list view. So you, instead of being in the card view, you click in the fast list view. Okay. And this is where you can multi-select. So I put in my Treecat notes these 3 that I want to multi-select. So in the search, so I'm in the fast list view. In the search, I put in my identifier for these 3 items. I select these 3 items, and then I go to main actions and I say autofill 3 items, right? Same way of doing it. It's just that this fast list view is just a way to do it in bulk. So you can either do it one by one, open up a series of tabs, or you can go into fast list, select all 3 or 3 or 4 or 5, however many you want. I think we're doing the max right now is like 10 at a time. But then, you could launch 10, 10 different tabs with 10 that you're autofilling conceivably, and do it that way. So anyways, so it is autofilling, and then you just scroll down, right? And then, oh, okay, here's the Mercari autofill. You just double check it, right, to make sure that it got all the things right. And you just double check that it got all, and you just keep scrolling down, right? And just making sure that it got everything correct. Looks like it got everything correct. It's pretty good at doing bras, but there are other categories that it's not great at, because it gets better and better the more you do it. And of course, I sell intimate apparel, so I've been testing this out on my intimate apparel, and it's really getting good with intimate apparel. So we would love to get feedback from people that are doing other categories and stuff like that. And it's all free to use right now. And there's some cool things about it, like they have the opportunity to use an AI description. So, and you have an opportunity to overwrite. So, like, let's say you didn't want to use this one, you could, when you're doing your AI autofill, there's this thing here. You can tell it overwrite existing titles and descriptions if that's how you want to do it. So you have a couple options. So it's really flexible. You can do it one at a time using the card view, or you can do it in a bulk fashion using Fastlist. So that's what I wanted to show you. We're excited about it, and we do want to get your feedback. So yeah, definitely let us know if how you like it. All right, so I'm going to keep this short today because I know it's Easter weekend, and I know you guys are like doing stuff with family and having fun, getting out in the sun, going on bike rides. Who knows? Maybe you're going on zip lining, or I don't know, something fun, right? Hopefully you guys are doing something fun. And you're enjoying your life because you're using tools like Treecat that save you time and allow you to enjoy your life. And like I said, I'm saving time. I'm getting out there. I'm doing bike rides. I don't know if you checked out my social media lately, but I'm definitely flexing on the extra time that I'm saving. So I hope you can too. I hope you do too. And yeah, that's about it, guys. So I hope you guys are having a great weekend, and we'll see you next week live on YouTube. Have a good one, and mahalo. Bye.